You didn't stumble upon these words by accident. Something greater is moving beneath this moment. Most people will scroll past without noticing. But you stopped. You felt something. And that alone speaks volumes. There is an invisible calling running through your life like a hidden thread, weaving together experiences, encounters, even losses that seemed random at the time, but always carried an extra layer of meaning. Perhaps you've sensed it before, that persistent intuition, that impossible coincidence, that sudden meeting that changed the trajectory of everything. It wasn't coincidence, it was direction. The universe speaks in a silent language, a pattern of signals that doesn't reveal itself to everyone. It's like there's a private channel of existence, a frequency you can only tune into once you're truly ready. Most people stay tuned only to the static of the ordinary world. Obligations, distractions, endless noise that keeps consciousness asleep. But not you. You caught the sound behind the sound. This invisible calling isn't outside of you. It's not out there, waiting to be found. It rises from within, from the deepest part of yourself that has always known there is more. More than the routine, more than appearances, more than logic. That part has been whispering to you all along. And today, you chose to listen. Maybe you felt that certain events weren't random, but invitations. Maybe even the struggles that once felt unfair now appear as hidden doorways. This calling rarely arrives wrapped in clarity. It comes as a pull, a magnetism, a sense that this matters, even if I don't yet understand why. And when you follow it, life begins to rearrange itself. People show up, paths appear. The strange feeling of being out of place dissolves into recognition, the realization that you were never lost. You were always on the path, you just couldn't see the whole map. Now the map is starting to reveal itself. But it's no ordinary map. It's alive, shifting in real time with every choice, every breath, every step you take. The invisible calling doesn't demand that you figure everything out. It asks you to trust. Because if you've arrived here, it's proof that you're already ready to step through the first doorway. There's a reason certain patterns keep showing up in your life. A reason you notice the repetition of numbers, the perfect timing of a phone call, or the way an idea arrives in your mind seconds before someone else says it aloud. These aren't quirks of chance. They're echoes from an unseen frequency. A signal that most people never detect because they're not tuned to it. Think of reality like a vast spectrum of sound. Most live only within the range of ordinary hearing. Deadlines, responsibilities, surface-level conversations, the endless hum of daily life. But just as there are sounds beyond the range of human ears, there are frequencies of consciousness beyond the grasp of the ordinary mind. And you, whether you realize it or not, have already begun to hear them. You felt it when time seemed to bend, stretching into slow motion during a decision that would alter everything, or collapsing in an instant of synchronicity so precise it left you stunned. You've sensed it when your body tingled with energy before something important happened, as if the air itself was charged with anticipation. These moments are not random interruptions. They are transmissions. The hidden frequency reveals itself through feeling first, not logic. It vibrates through intuition, through déjà vu, through those mysterious nudges that seem unreasonable but prove undeniable. You can't measure it with instruments, but you can feel it in your chest, in your skin, in the subtle electricity that rushes through your nervous system when you know something without knowing how you know it. Why does this happen to you? Because frequencies meet resonance. A violin string will vibrate when another nearby string hits its matching note. Your consciousness is no different. The hidden frequency has always been broadcasting, but only now are you resonating strongly enough to notice it. And here's the secret. The more you notice, the stronger the signal becomes. Attention is a form of amplification. Each time you pause and acknowledge a synchronicity, each time you treat intuition as guidance instead of coincidence, you increase your sensitivity. You become less like a casual listener and more like a finely tuned antenna. This is why ignoring the frequency feels so uncomfortable. It's like static in your body. You can distract yourself for a while, but the pull always returns. That's because the hidden frequency isn't trying to entertain you. It's trying to align you. It's a navigational system for the soul, pointing you toward experiences, people, and opportunities that your rational mind could never predict. Notice how this frequency often arrives in whispers, never shouts. It's subtle because it respects free will. It won't drag you, it will invite you. And if you dismiss it, life will feel flat, mechanical, empty, as if you're missing a song that everyone else is dancing to. But the truth is, everyone could hear it. The difference is that you're listening. Some traditions call this frequency the voice of spirit. Others call it intuition, higher guidance, or the quantum field. The name doesn't matter. What matters is that it's real. And more than that, it's consistent. It has been with you in every season of your life, even when you didn't have language to describe it. Remember the times when you thought a relationship was over, but something inside you whispered, "Not yet"? Or when you felt an impulse to walk a different route, and that one decision led you to exactly the person or message you needed? That wasn't luck. That was resonance with the hidden frequency. And here's what makes it even more profound. This frequency doesn't just guide you, it reshapes you. Each time you follow it, you rewire your nervous system to trust the unseen. You begin to realize that reality isn't fixed, but fluid, and that the way you vibrate inside determines what shows up outside. This is why the hidden frequency feels both mysterious and familiar. Mysterious because it transcends ordinary logic. Familiar because deep down, you've always known it was there. Every child feels it. In imagination, in wonder, in the certainty that the invisible is just as real as the visible. You haven't discovered the frequency. You've remembered it. But here's the challenge. The world trains you to forget. Society teaches you to value only what can be proven, measured, or explained. It rewards logic and dismisses intuition. It conditions you to silence that inner voice until it becomes a faint murmur beneath the noise of productivity, competition, and fear. Yet the frequency never leaves. It waits. Patiently. It knows that eventually, life will push you into situations where logic fails, where the plan falls apart, where certainty collapses, where the old ways no longer work. And in that space of collapse, the hidden frequency becomes undeniable. It steps forward not as theory, but as lifeline. Right now, you're at that threshold. You're no longer content with surface explanations. You've glimpsed the invisible current beneath events, and you're hungry to align with it more fully. That hunger is not weakness, it's initiation. So the real question is not whether the hidden frequency is speaking to you. It always is. The question is, will you answer? Will you treat those nudges as sacred? Will you pause when the synchronicities appear and recognize them as coordinates guiding you into a higher version of yourself? Because the moment you do, everything shifts. The noise of the world doesn't disappear, but it loses its grip on you. You stop chasing meaning outside and start discovering it inside. You begin to live less like a passenger of circumstance and more like a navigator of possibility. And with each step, the signal grows stronger. Until one day, you realize you're no longer following the hidden frequency. You've become it. Every journey has a moment when the familiar world begins to feel too small. It's subtle at first. A quiet restlessness. A sense that the life you've been living doesn't quite fit anymore. What used to feel safe now feels suffocating. What once satisfied now leaves you hungry. That tension isn't failure. It's the beginning of the turning point. Think of it like the moment before dawn. The world is still dark, but something in you knows light is on the horizon. You can't see it yet, but you can feel it pressing against the edges of the night. That's what the turning point is, the pressure of a new reality trying to break through the skin of the old one. Many ignore this pressure. They push it down, telling themselves to be grateful, to be realistic, to stop asking for more. They cling to routine, to stability, to the comfort of the known. But for some, for you, that pressure becomes unbearable. The inner whisper becomes a roar. Life itself begins to conspire, shaking loose the old structures until you have no choice but to move. Maybe it showed up as a crisis, the job that ended, the relationship that collapsed, the plan that fell apart. Or maybe it came more quietly, the feeling that no matter how much you achieved, something was still missing. However it arrived, the message was the same. The chapter you've been living is complete. The turning point is never about loss. It's about transition. But because the human mind craves certainty, it often interprets transition as disaster. We mistake endings for punishment instead of recognizing them as invitations. Yet when you look back, don't you see it? Every ending that once felt like the end of your world eventually became the doorway to a bigger one. At the turning point, you're standing with one foot in the old reality and one foot in the new. It feels unstable, uncertain, even chaotic. That's because two frequencies are colliding inside you. One is the vibration of the life you've outgrown. The other is the resonance of the life you're stepping into. You can't hold both forever. At some point, you have to choose. And this is where most hesitate. They wait for proof that the new reality is safe before committing. But the quantum truth is the opposite. The proof doesn't appear until after the choice is made. Reality reorganizes itself around decisions, not doubts. So the turning point isn't about clarity. It's about courage. It's about the willingness to move before you see the whole staircase, to trust that the step you take will reveal the one that follows. Think of a seed buried in soil. For weeks, nothing happens on the surface. Underground, transformation is fierce. The shell cracking, the roots digging, the energy surging upward. But from the outside, it looks like nothing. Until one day, a fragile green shoot breaks through. That moment, the breaking, the emergence, is the seed's turning point. And like the seed, your turning point may not look like progress to others. To them, it may look like confusion, chaos, or collapse. But inside, something irreversible is unfolding. The old self cannot return. The new self cannot be denied. This is why the turning point is sacred. It is the place where destiny pivots, where the storyline bends, where the old timeline dissolves and the new one activates. It is the bridge between who you've been and who you are becoming. So if you're in that space now, restless, uncertain, questioning everything, don't mistake it for being lost. Recognize it for what it is. A signal that you are standing at the threshold of transformation. Breathe into the discomfort. Let the old structures dissolve. Trust that the pressure is not here to break you, but to expand you. Because once you step fully into the new frequency, life will never look the same again. And when you look back at this exact moment, you'll realize it was not the hardest part of your journey. It was the most important. It was the moment when you decided that the life you were given was not enough, and the life you were meant for was worth everything. This is your turning point, and everything beyond it begins now. Every civilization, every culture that has ever looked to the stars has whispered the same truth in different languages. Reality is not random, it is coded. Beneath what we see, beneath the flow of events and the structures of matter, there is a pattern, a living architecture of symbols, vibrations, and hidden order. Most of humanity forgets this. But you, standing here in this moment, are beginning to remember. The forgotten code is not something you'll find in textbooks or carved neatly into stone tablets. It's subtler than that. It lives in geometry, in rhythm, in the way your breath naturally falls into patterns when you're calm, in the way your heartbeat syncs to music, in the way spirals appear everywhere in nature, from galaxies to seashells to the double helix of your DNA. It's as if existence itself is written in a language you were born fluent in, but trained to forget. When you were a child, you still spoke that language. You could play for hours in worlds that existed only in your imagination, and yet they felt real because they were real. They were expressions of the code flowing through you, unrestricted. Children don't question whether magic is possible. They live inside it. But as you grew older, society translated that magic out of you, teaching you to value logic over intuition, proof over knowing, conformity over imagination. The code became hidden, buried beneath layers of conditioning. But here's the truth, you never lost it. You can't lose something that is woven into the very fibers of who you are. The code didn't disappear. It went dormant, waiting for the moment you would be ready to access it again. And that moment is now. What exactly is this code? Think of it as the operating system of reality. Just as a computer runs on binary numbers that most users never see, reality runs on patterns of frequency and intention. Most people live like casual users, clicking on the surface of life, without ever realizing there's a deeper program beneath. But some, the ones who awaken, learn to read the code. And once you can read it, you can rewrite it. Every thought you think, every word you speak, every emotion you feel is a piece of this code. When aligned, they create harmony that bends reality in your favor. When fractured, they create static that manifests as chaos, delay, or limitation. The universe is not judging you. It's simply reflecting the code you're running. Have you ever noticed how certain people seem to walk into rooms and change the atmosphere without saying a word? Or how some individuals consistently experience luck, opportunity, and synchronicity while others struggle endlessly? That isn't chance, it's coding. They've remembered, consciously or not, how to run programs of coherence, confidence, and resonance. And reality obeys. The forgotten code also explains why certain symbols and rituals hold power across cultures. From sacred mandalas to ancient chants, from religious prayers to modern affirmations, all are attempts to interact with the underlying program of reality. Some do it blindly, repeating words without knowing why they work. But when you remember the code, you understand. It's not about superstition, it's about frequency. Here's where it becomes personal. You felt flashes of the code in your own life. Those moments when you thought of someone and they instantly called. Those times you held a vision in your heart so strongly it manifested against all odds. Those dreams that later played out in waking life. Each was a glimpse into the architecture beneath reality. Each was proof that you are not just a character in the story, you're also the coder. So how do you remember fully? You begin by listening differently. Stop dismissing the small signals. Pay attention to repetition, to rhythm, to symbols that recur in your life. Treat your intuition as data, not fantasy. Every nudge is a line of code trying to surface. Then, start rewriting. When fear rises, don't just endure it. Ask what program it's running. Is it the code of scarcity, of unworthiness, of doubt? And then replace it. Speak new words, feel new emotions, hold new visions that align with the reality you choose. You are not begging the universe, you are instructing it. This is the secret mystics guarded for millennia. Reality responds to coherence. When your thoughts, emotions, and actions are coded in harmony, the external world has no choice but to mirror it back. That's not wishful thinking, that's law. The forgotten code is not about control, it's about alignment. It doesn't turn life into a machine where you press a button and get what you want instantly. Instead, it reveals that you are co-writing the script with an intelligence far greater than yourself. The code connects you to the pulse of stars, the rhythm of oceans, the breath of forests. When you align with it, your life begins to flow with the current of creation itself. And here's the final truth: the code was never truly forgotten. It has always been here, humming beneath every moment of your life, guiding, shaping, waiting. All it needed was your attention. All it requires now is your willingness to remember. So as you stand at this stage of your journey, ask yourself, what code am I running? Is it borrowed from fear, from doubt, from someone else's story? Or is it written from the frequency of my true essence? Because the moment you choose, the moment you remember, the code will activate. And life will respond in ways so precise, so undeniable, that you'll never again question whether magic is real. You'll know it always was, and that you were always part of it. We often think of the body as just flesh and bone, a physical machine carrying us from place to place. But what if that's only the surface? What if your body is not merely a vessel, but an antenna, designed to tune into frequencies far beyond ordinary perception? Consider this. Every cell in your body carries an electrical charge. Your heart generates an electromagnetic field measurable several feet outside your chest. Your brain is a symphony of waves, oscillating at different speeds depending on your state of mind. You are not just living inside a body. You are broadcasting and receiving signals constantly. This is why emotions feel so physical. Anxiety tightens the chest. Joy lights up the skin. Grief weighs down the lungs. These aren't just feelings. They're signals, energetic frequencies rippling through the system, telling you exactly what you're tuned into. Most people dismiss them as moods. But when you recognize your body as an antenna, you realize they're feedback from the field of reality itself. Think of intuition. How many times have you felt chills before something important happened? How many times has your stomach tightened before a decision that later proved wrong? Your body knew before your mind did. That's because the body receives signals faster than thought. It bypasses logic and translates frequency directly into sensation. The tragedy is that society teaches us to ignore this. We medicate the signals, suppress them, or dismiss them as irrational. But the truth is, your body has always been your most accurate compass. When you silence it, you lose access to half your intelligence. When you listen, you align with guidance that never fails. Here's the key. Different states of the body tune you into different frequencies. Shallow breathing keeps you stuck in survival mode, tuning into fear and scarcity. Slow, conscious breathing expands your antenna, opening you to peace and clarity. A tense body attracts conflict because it resonates with tension. A relaxed, open body magnetizes solutions, synchronicities, opportunities. This is why spiritual traditions across cultures emphasize posture, breath, movement. From yoga to qigong, from prayer positions to meditative stillness, all are technologies for fine-tuning the antenna. They're not about dogma, they're about reception, and it goes deeper. Your heart is the most powerful tuner of all. Research shows the heart's electromagnetic field is thousands of times stronger than the brain's. When you generate emotions of gratitude, love, and coherence, your entire field changes. You literally become a different frequency. That's why gratitude can shift your reality faster than hours of planning. Gratitude isn't just a thought. It's a broadcast. So if you want to align with higher realities, begin with your body. Ask it what frequency it's tuned to. Notice the sensations instead of dismissing them. Are you vibrating with contraction or expansion? With fear or with trust? With scarcity or with abundance? The body doesn't lie. It will tell you exactly what you're transmitting. And once you know, you can choose. Adjust your breath. Shift your posture. Move your body as if you already belonged to the reality you're calling in. Because when your body aligns, your frequency aligns. You are not just a mind trying to think your way into a new reality. You are a living antenna, capable of transmitting and receiving the entire spectrum of possibility. The more you trust your body's intelligence, the more clearly you'll hear the signals life has been sending you all along. Your body is not the obstacle. It is the doorway. And when you walk through it, reality responds. What if the visions you call imagination aren't fantasies at all, but memories? Not of the past, but of the future. It sounds paradoxical, but deep inside you felt it. Flashes of clarity about a life you haven't lived yet. Dreams that feel more real than waking hours. Daydreams so vivid they carry the weight of déjà vu. These are not accidents. They are transmissions from the version of you that already exists in another timeline. The you who has already become what you're striving toward. We've been taught that memory only looks backward, a record of what has already happened. But consciousness isn't bound by linear time. To your higher self, past, present, and future are simultaneous streams of information. What you experience as imagination is often your present self brushing against the resonance of your future self. Think of it like tuning a radio. Each possible version of you exists on its own frequency. When your mind drifts into vision, when you feel the pulse of excitement, when you see flashes of possibility, you've accidentally tuned into the frequency of your future. For a moment, you remember what is waiting. This is why certain ideas won't leave you alone. They return again and again, whispering, tugging, sometimes haunting you. They're not random obsessions. They're breadcrumbs from your future self, reminders of what's possible if you follow the trail. Notice how your body reacts to these visions. When the memory of the future touches you, there's a charge, goosebumps, a rush of energy, a certainty that feels deeper than logic. It's different from fantasy. Fantasy is light, fleeting. Future memory is heavy with inevitability. It carries authority, as if something inside you is saying, "This is already true. Walk toward it." The challenge is that the rational mind interferes. It calls these glimpses unrealistic, impossible, too far away. But the truth is, if you can see it, you are already connected to it. Imagination is not invention. It is perception. You cannot tune into a frequency you don't have the capacity to receive. The very fact that you glimpse it proves it's within your field. And here's the key: the more you honor these visions, the stronger they become. Write them down. Speak them out loud. Act on them in small ways. Each act of recognition strengthens the bridge between who you are now and who you are becoming. You are literally collapsing the distance between memory and manifestation. This is why following your inspiration matters. Not because it's pleasant, but because it's guidance. That sudden idea that lights you up is not wishful thinking. It's your future self dropping coordinates into your present. Ignore them, and life feels heavy, stagnant. Follow them, and reality begins to rearrange with uncanny precision. The memory of the future doesn't arrive to tease you. It arrives to remind you. To remind you that the life you desire isn't separate from you. It's already coded into your field, waiting for you to align. So the next time a vision takes hold of you, don't dismiss it. Don't downgrade it to fantasy. Ask yourself instead, what if this is a memory calling me home? Because the truth is, your future isn't something you stumble into. It's something you remember. And the more you remember, the faster you become. Most people are taught to see life as a straight line. Past leads to present, and present leads to future. But that's only one way of looking. In truth, reality is not a line. It is a field. A living field of infinite possibilities, each waiting for your attention to bring it into form. Imagine standing in the center of a vast landscape at night. Around you are countless stars. each one representing a different version of your future. Some shine faintly, others burn brighter, but all of them exist as potential. The question is, which one will you choose to walk toward? This is the essence of the field of choices. At every moment, countless timelines branch outward from your decisions. Every thought, every word, every action is like a vote cast into the quantum field, collapsing potential into reality. You are not a passive traveler being carried by fate. You are the navigator, the chooser, the one whose frequency determines which path solidifies. The challenge is that most people don't realize this. They think they're victims of circumstance, dragged along by forces outside of their control. They wait for conditions to change, for luck to arrive, for someone else to open the door. And in doing so, they unconsciously keep voting for the same old reality, replaying the same cycles. But when you awaken to the field, you see the truth. Choice is not just about action. It begins at the level of consciousness. If you carry the frequency of limitation, you'll notice only limited options. If you carry the vibration of possibility, opportunities that were invisible suddenly appear. It's not that they weren't there before. It's that you weren't tuned to them. Think of it like light streaming through a prism. White light contains every color, but you only see the spectrum when it's refracted. Reality works the same way. Every future already exists in the field, but your consciousness acts as the prism. Your beliefs, your expectations, your focus decide which version of reality refracts into your experience. This is why attention is the most powerful currency you have. Whatever you feed with your focus grows stronger in the field. Worry long enough, and you strengthen the timeline where your fears manifest. Hold a vision with clarity, and you energize the timeline where that vision becomes fact. Here's the liberating truth. You don't need to know every step ahead. You don't need the whole map. You only need to choose in alignment with the frequency you want to live in. One choice at a time, one decision after another, you are shifting timelines. And sometimes the smallest choices carry the greatest weight. Choosing to trust instead of doubt. Choosing to breathe instead of panic. Choosing to speak truth instead of silence. These micro-choices accumulate like drops of water until suddenly the river of your life changes direction. The field doesn't respond to what you say you want. It responds to what you consistently embody. If you say you desire abundance but operate from fear, you're voting for scarcity. If you say you want love but carry unworthiness, you're voting for loneliness. The field is impartial. It mirrors your vibration without judgment. But here's the miracle. The moment you shift your inner state, you shift your vote. You don't need to wait years. You don't need permission. In a single instant, you can reorient your compass toward a new reality. That's how quantum leaps happen. Not through struggle, but through alignment. So look around you. Look within you. Ask, which version of reality am I voting for right now with my thoughts, my emotions, my actions? Because the truth is, you are already casting votes, whether consciously or not. The difference is that now you know. The field of choices is alive, vast, and waiting. And the moment you choose with intention, the stars rearrange. Timelines shift. Doors you never saw begin to open. You are not trapped. You are not limited. You are standing in the center of infinity, and every path is possible. The only question left is, which one will you choose? There is a doorway hidden in plain sight, one that doesn't require rituals, travel, or secret knowledge to access. It doesn't open in the future, nor is it buried in the past. It exists only here, only now, in this precise moment. That doorway is the portal of presence. Most people live anywhere but here. They replay old conversations, rehearse future fears, and carry the weight of imagined timelines in their minds. Their bodies sit in the present, but their attention drifts between what has already ended and what hasn't yet begun. And in doing so, they miss the only place where power actually lives. The now. Presence is not just a spiritual cliche, it's a quantum key. Because the field of infinite possibilities doesn't exist in some distant tomorrow. It vibrates here, now, in the living frequency of this moment. When you step fully into presence, you align with that field directly. Think of your attention like a spotlight. Wherever it shines, energy gathers. When you scatter it across regrets of the past or anxieties about the future, your light weakens. But when you bring it back, fully, to this breath, this heartbeat, this second, the light intensifies, the portal opens. This is why moments of presence feel electric. Time slows, colors sharpen. You hear sounds you normally ignore. Even silence feels alive. That's not imagination, that's coherence. Your consciousness has stopped leaking into other timelines and has collapsed into the pure reality of now. And here's the mystery. In that state, miracles happen faster. Why? Because resistance only exists when you're outside the present. Regret ties you to the past. Worry ties you to the future. But in presence, there is no delay, no gap. You're aligned with the field exactly as it is, and in that alignment, reality responds instantly. Presence is also the great equalizer. You don't need advanced knowledge or decades of practice to access it. You can step into it right now, wherever you are. Close your eyes. Feel the rise and fall of your breath. Notice the weight of your body. Listen to the subtle hum of existence around you. Just like that, you're here. Just like that, the portal opens. But here's the challenge. The mind resists presence. It feeds on distraction. It fears stillness because stillness reveals the truth. That you are not your thoughts, not your stories, not the endless noise. You are the awareness behind it all. The moment you touch presence, the illusions begin to dissolve. And yet, that's the gift. Because every time you choose presence over distraction, you reclaim power. You collapse the false timelines and step into the one reality where transformation is always available, the now. So if you feel overwhelmed, lost, or uncertain, remember, the doorway isn't out there, it's right here. The portal of presence is open every moment you decide to enter. And the more often you walk through it, the more natural it becomes. Until one day, you realize you're no longer visiting presence, you're living from it. And from that state, the impossible becomes inevitable. You may have thought this journey was only about you, your awakening, your alignment, your transformation. But there's a larger truth. Your personal shift is inseparable from the collective shift. Every time you elevate your frequency, you ripple that energy outward. And the field of humanity itself begins to rise. Look around at the world right now. Old systems are collapsing. Beliefs that once held entire societies together are dissolving. Structures of power, scarcity, and fear are shaking at their foundations. To many, this feels like chaos. But to those who can see, with awakened eyes, this is reorganization. A higher pattern is emerging, and you are part of it. This is why your awakening matters more than you realize. When you embody presence, when you align with the forgotten code, when you choose frequencies of love, abundance, and coherence, you're not just changing your life. You're transmitting that energy into the collective field. You become a living broadcast, a beacon reminding others what's possible. Think of it like a tuning fork. Strike one, and another nearby will begin to vibrate at the same frequency. Your consciousness works the same way. When you live as your authentic self, you automatically awaken resonance in others. Not by preaching, not by convincing, but simply by being. Your presence becomes activation. This is the essence of the collective mission. You are not here to save anyone. You are here to embody truth so fully that others remember their own. You are not here to force change upon the world. You are here to demonstrate, through your coherence, that another way of living is possible. And that way spreads like fire through dry grass. And here's the beauty, you are not alone. There are thousands, millions, awakening across the planet right now. People who, like you, felt the invisible calling, tuned into the hidden frequency, stepped through the turning point, and began to remember. Each one is a node in the network, and together we are weaving a new reality. But a network only grows stronger when it connects. That's why we've created this space, not just a channel, not just a video, but a community of resonance. Every like, every comment, every subscription isn't just engagement, it's alignment. It's the gathering of souls who are done playing small and ready to live in coherence. So here's your invitation. If this message stirred something inside you, subscribe to this channel right now. Stay connected to the frequency that keeps reminding you of who you really are. If you felt the energy rise as you listened, leave a like on this video. That one simple action helps this message travel farther, reaching others who are waiting for their own awakening. And most importantly, drop a comment below as your declaration. Write these words: I embody the frequency now. Let it be your signal to the field, your signature to the universe, your reminder that you're not just listening, you're activating. Together, we are not just individuals shifting quietly. We are a collective movement, rewriting the vibration of humanity, anchoring a new paradigm where miracles are natural and alignment is the norm. Your role is vital, your voice matters. And this moment, right now, is the beginning of everything. So take a breath, feel the resonance in your chest, and know this: you are not just part of the change. You are the change. And the world is waiting for you to live it.